Hi, I'm Liz. My pronouns are they, them, and I would say my access needs are met. And that's how all of my meetings start for the last 2 years, working with other disabled funders and the committee of people who are working on distributing this grant money to people in tech who are working on disability justice focused projects. So I've been working for the last 2 years with Borealis Philanthropy as their sort of tech and disability justice liaison person and program manager. They are a big intermediary funder who work with the huge funders like Ford and all of those people who they get a bunch of money and then they run these 9 different very progressive funds who are managed by people who fit that identity or those qualities. We're here in Berkeley, which is just basically the epicenter or one of the main epicenters of the disability rights movement from the 70s. Ed Roberts was a pioneer there, honored in the building just down the street from us called the Ed Roberts Campus. But I also wanted to just bring in that we are here where the 504 protests that were nationwide across the US in 1977, a group of over 100 disabled people occupied the federal building in San Francisco for a month, and it was a huge deal. And they basically did that because nobody had the nerve to throw them out. And so it's just like, imagine a lot of people with very diverse needs and situations and abilities camping out on the floor. So if you want to know more about that, I totally recommend the documentary Crip Camp. It's fantastic. Another local guy, Jim Lebrecht, worked on that, and it's his brainchild. So we can think of that as a disability rights movement. They are fighting for rights, the rights to education, to housing, to be in the world, to be able to access public services and just the public world in general. But we now have sort of a different evolution of that into disability justice. And by that, we mean a more holistic view of the intersectional status of disability tied in with race and gender and sexuality and gender identity and all those other things. And really trying to do real movement building that isn't just based on fighting in a legislator for your rights, civil rights. So that leads me to now in my fund, what the heck do we mean by disability justice and tech? You may not be thinking of disabled people as inventors, as innovators, but that's how I see the people that I hang out with and work with all the time, because you just see people who have to innovate and have to use technology in a different way. Like, you maybe used your car to get here and you're sitting in a chair, and that is a way that technology, an physical object, is mediating your interface with the world. But probably having that chair isn't the thing that made it possible for you to be here. So for me, it's what made it possible for me to be here, and the fact that like BART has level boarding and elevators and things like that. And that is because of the disability rights movement. Anyway, that's just like a way that I have to depend on technology in a very crucial way. Back to this DIFxTech, I want to talk about our participatory grant making model. I think in the first place, part of the way that we got the funding to do this from our bigger funders was an attempt at starting a participatory grant making process, because they were like, we've got all this money, but we don't see any disabled people applying for our grants. Maybe if we give you the money, you're a bunch of disabled people who are, into progressive stuff, and maybe you'll know or you'll have the trust with various communities and various people to know how to distribute this money better. And part of my goal in this, and part of our organization's goal, is to shift and distribute power. I also, I did mention here, I've just mentioned tokenization, and that's a thing that is just a fact of life. Like, I work at a company, and that company is always going to stick me in the front row and be like, can we take some photos where you look really diverse and stuff? And, I'm like, sure, whatever. But I'll take it. I'll take it and run. I'll be like, oh, you want me to come and diverse up your thing? Then I'm gonna take it and run and give you an earful, But it is a fact of life, and it's something just to be aware of. And one way to avoid doing that is partnership. Partnership with organizations, partnerships with groups of people, inviting a cohort. If you want to say you wanted to apply for the money that we are offering funding for, maybe you want to make something more accessible about the tool you're building, or figure out what it is that you can do that would actually include and serve disabled people of whatever stripe. Go find an organization of those people who are kind of doing that thing and partner up with them. Don't just like get one disabled person to like test your website. Some of our grantees, and this is kind of answering the what does this mean? Here's some of our grantees that demonstrate what we were looking for. Space is a deaf-led and deaf-centric arts and culture organization, but actually I think of it as a hacker and makerspace, but they always describe themselves to funders as a culture organization, and I'm like, yeah, you're a hackerspace. So they're a makerspace. They'll do things like they teach you how to use a 3D printer, but deaf people are teaching other deaf people how to do it. And that's just so necessary. And they also make amazing art and amazing experiential kind of spaces. Communication First, truly amazing advocacy organization. Fabulous people, so experienced and so rooted in disability rights movement. They're working for speech-related disability. So people are using AAC, Augmentative and Assistive Communication. Autistic Women and Non-Binary Network may be relevant to people here. Very interesting, beautiful resource guides that they provide online, and they make a big effort to translate them and make them available in many formats. Our program work, rather than just giving out the blob of funding, we do try to stay involved in a way that isn't invasive or testing you. We do check-ins with the grantees. We run programming. We have talks and discussions that include our grantee cohort. We have book readings. And we keep asking them what they need. Like, keep checking in. Someone else mentioned this, is that over the life of the grant, their needs may change because their project changes. And we also try to elevate and promote the organization's work and profiles. You may also learn that you have access needs that you aren't thinking of as disability needs, but they might be good. You might need quiet space. You might need more time to respond than responding immediately in the moment. You might hate phone calls. I don't know. You can integrate disability justice principles, if you learn about them, into your tools. You can build coalitions. And some reading that I would recommend: More Than a Glitch, Against Techno-Ableism, Rethinking Who Needs Improvement. And also a fantastic report from the Center for Disability, Centering Disability and Technology Policy. That's excellent. If you read that, you will get a whole education. It's like you've gone to the whole 101 class. Thanks.